Hey, what's going on there, YouTube? Right now, what we're watching here is a quick little playthrough of the test server on Battlefield 4. This is sort of like a an shooting range that allows you to pilot, allows you to test out various weapons and gear. Right now here, you can see that we're playing around with some of our options here. We're trying to get the best balance between quality and performance. As you can see, there's so many different options here in Battlefield 4. So we want to get it so that we have a very nice smooth frame rate and not a lot of hitching or a lot of things that could essentially keep us from enjoying the game, but also from viewing, seeing enemies, shooting enemies in a timely fashion. In a game like this, where your time to kill is relatively low compared to some games, you need to be able to identify your targets quickly. You need to be able to put rounds downrange on target. So that's essentially what's going on here. Don't mind the accuracy, not really great with this particular weapon, and really haven't played Battlefield 4 in actually quite some time. I do apologize for the loud keyboard clicks. This mechanical keyboard is, yeah, it's a little bit too loud, I think, for our taste, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and probably adjust that either in post-production or processing and see if we can get that out of there. Now, if we can't, you know what? Could be worse. At least you know that I'm really playing the game. Now, we've tried several different settings here. We tried turning off various special effects like anti-aliasing and the level of post-affecting and everything from ambient occlusion we've taken off. And we do see that the game really, to me, doesn't change very much in quality when some of those refined options are turned off. Personally, I think that I would probably take the trade-off of not having everything at Ultra, even though with this rig that we have built, we would hope that everything would be able to playable in Ultra. And again, not that it's not playable. In fact, it's actually quite playable. But we'd rather get the most performance we can, especially in a shooter like this. And while it's not a competitive shooting game, we do want to be able to be competitive in a sense. You know, we don't want to give up anything to our opposing forces here. And if that means that we give up a little bit of the visual fidelity of the imagery, you know what? It's okay. I mean, when you're shooting things, you're not really going to notice whether or not that bush over there is completely anti-aliased and how smooth the edges are or curved. So, you know, who cares? You're shooting targets. All right, not too bad. We're getting through here. I mean, you won't be able to see it on the screen here, but the frame rate is hovering between 110 all the way up to 130, which is fantastic for a game of this quality. A lot of that is due to the fantastic video card that we're running in this particular machine today, which is an NVIDIA GeForce 980 Ti. It's a fantastic video card, super powerful. It's essentially a shortened and slightly nerfed version of a Titan video card, which could easily set you back at least $1,000. So, you know, to get that type of performance at half that price, or a little bit over half that price, is fantastic. Yeah, so we're doing okay here. We're playing just a few more options. Looks like we want to go ahead and play around with the AA again. The frame rate here is a key issue here. You want to be able to compete with the other people online. If that means being able to see things faster than your opponent, that's going to give you the advantage, especially in a gunfight. Yeah, LMGs have a very long reload time, some of them upwards of 5 seconds. You definitely don't want to run the gun dry and then reload. You definitely want to reload with at least one bullet left. That way you get the short reload time. We do notice that when we go into a vehicle here, the frame rate does drop significantly. Now that's probably because of all the effects that are going on. You know, we're shooting at what appears to be cardboard and paper and things that just kind of create all sorts of really cool destruction effects when they're shot, and that quality there can essentially slow down your performance. It's a lot more resource intensive. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for my narration here. We can go ahead and take a look at more of some of the settings here in Battlefield 4 later on, but a lot of that's going to vary depending on the rig that you're running. If you have a very powerful computer, you're probably going to be able to run it as well, if not better, than the computer we have set up today. If you have a slightly older rig or maybe some less powerful hardware, you're probably going to have to turn down some of these effects here in the video setting. Now, NVIDIA has included a pretty decent software called the GeForce Experience, and essentially analyzes many popular games and puts together a profile of options. And you can run that profile, and which will affect the game. You can run it as a pure performance game. You can run it as a fully optimized game. It's going to go ahead and just kind of take all the guesswork out of what we're doing right now. As you can see, there's a lot of options we can play with. The GeForce Experience software is going to go ahead and streamline that whole thing. And just essentially make a slider when you decide how performance-driven your game will be and how pretty essentially it will be. So very easy. Those profiles are updated all the time, which is great. So depending on the hardware that you're running, the software's pretty good about knowing what you want to play it at. And we'll probably do a video of that maybe later on. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoy this little video here. Again, just more of a test, just to see if our rig can handle Battlefield 4, and more importantly, whether or not we're able to do voiceover work. This is just really practice for me in order to analyze the video content that we produce here, and whether or not I can talk about it and sound authoritative enough for that. So hopefully I do. Obviously, so it needs a little work since I'm sort of just winging this here. I haven't really studied the footage at all, so I'm just sort of watching what happens and commenting on what I see at the time. Hopefully I'll do a little bit more practice beforehand before we delve too much into the videos that we'll be producing. And hopefully I produce enough good video content to actually talk about it. If it's really boring, then we're really screwed. Alright, that's it, guys. You all have a great night. We'll see you next time.